I have to be honest, I think I fall into the same pitfalls I make fun of other people for falling into sometimes. Like with this build. You already know it's for Meteor Hammer, it's in the title and all that, but this could have been a video for months ago. Right when Meteor Hammer came out, everybody got to theory crafting, and then some idiot suggested Meteor Hammer on Arc Warden, and everybody, including me, pretty much gave it less than a passing thought and threw the idea out, you know? I mean, Arc Warden's a carry, he needs carry items, he needs Midas and Miona, maybe Silver Edge or something. And I got caught in a trap of thinking, well, that's how people play him, that's how he should be played. But you gotta be careful with that logic, eh? If we kept to what we already knew, Earth would be the center of the universe, and we'd be praying to the sun to rise every morning. So let's throw a little bit of doubt in, just to see where it takes us. I go to Open Dota and look at the MMR distributions to see what the average Dota player is, and it's Archon 1. Not a bad rank, but hard to call the best of the best. How do they build Arc Warden? Carry, right? Midas into Maelstrom into Bloodthorn or something. Now the more skeptical of you guys will probably be thinking, well yeah, but they got their builds from pro players and players over Divine 5, and you're exactly right. Which is good. I'm happy that you're coming at this critically instead of blindly trusting everything I say, because just like me not coming at Arc Warden with an open mind, you have the potential to come in with too much of an open mind for my ideas that can lead you astray. Be critical and really think about every one of these builds. I'm sure there's plenty of guides I personally attest to and still to this day build that you can absolutely trash. Just leave that Wyvern guide alone. I'm trashing that one myself in an upcoming video. But, back on Arc Warden, here's the rub. The same build has a 47% win rate under 2k, a 48 in 2k, a 50 in 3k, a 51 in 4k, and then drops dramatically to 46 in 5k, or Divine 5. But why? There is some homework for you all, my pupils. Find it out. But regardless of why, it's pretty clear right up at the top of the mountain, Arc Wardens can't survive doing what they did to get up to there. We need a new build. Might I suggest one? Okay. Arc Warden is hard. I feel like I should mention that before we go any further. He requires micro, which seems to be the dividing line between a lot of players' hero pools. He's not a Meepo or Chen level of micro, but he's also not just Warlock who can pretty much A-click the golem on an enemy and go, hey, that's that. Man, one of my most played is Meepo, and even I can't get my head around Arc Warden. So, what I'm going to talk about is challenging stuff. Hopefully this guide can facilitate you with a plan B in just split pushing with Meteor Hammer so you can still win, even when you have no idea what you're doing. But, if you're struggling, don't worry, Arc Warden is hard. Dota Buff has added this new feature where they straight up just tell you Arc Warden's counted by these, and Arc Warden counters these. So I guess all I really need to do is extrapolate on why. Notice anything linking all 5 here and all 5 there? Well, other than Slark, Arc Wardens count as raw melee heroes with lots of units. Slark squeezes in just because he's got a purge for Flux. So, okay, Arc Wardens counted by melee heroes, good to know. But not necessarily. Your average Arc player is counted by them. But you're not, because you're not average. You're a gold star player, well done. More on this in the skill build. But basically Flux is counted by not being alone, and Field is counted by just being in it. And then it's just naturally anyone who builds BKB. So obviously, in turn, Arc Warden himself counts as ranged heroes, who ride solo, and who don't build BKB. I mean, yeah, that makes sense, right? Oh, short segment. We only really got to enjoy the Power Pyramid for a couple of seconds there. Bye again, Power Pyramid. Hopefully I don't forget you the next video like I always do. Hello. Arc Warden is gross. I think I hate him. I didn't used to, but then I played against an actual good Arc Warden player mid, and I was absolutely destroyed by him. So here's how you can do it yourself. Yeah. Spark Wraith, level 1. It helps you last hit, harass the enemy, avoid ganks, pretty much everything. But before I explain how, this build is made possible by talents, specifically the level 10 cooldown reduction talent. We're effectively playing caster Arc, so it just makes sense over a pretty boring 25 attack speed bonus. Flux is Arc Warden's Q. It's one of the easiest spells to counter in all of Dota, but nobody ever does. It's an incredible 50% slow that deals up to 400 damage with a cast range of 800 at level 4, and is completely countered by having any allied unit next to you. This is why Arc Warden's beaten by heroes who control more than one unit, but straight up, in theory, any person can counter Flux. All they need is a smart team. Magnetic Field, however, is a spell with a bit more to say. It might be the best spell he has, ignoring the ultimate, but you probably don't agree. Hey, so, yeah, as I think most of us already know, it's an AoE dome that gives people inside a bunch of attack speed and 100% evasion. unless the attacker is also in the dome. But it starts to get interesting there, because Arc Warden's Tempest Double's dome stacks independently with the original one, which means that standing in the intersection of both means that the attacker also has to stand in the intersection of both. Because obviously if he's standing only in one, he's effectively not standing in the other, and so like the description plainly says, his attacks will miss. He is not standing in that dome. If you make the Venn diagram of two magnetic fields small enough so only you can just fit inside it yourself, you're pretty much guaranteeing a whole 6.5 seconds of 100% evasion, albeit at the cost of, you know, not giving evasion to your teammates. But that's just the start. It also works with buildings, and buildings are big. You can pretty much give buildings a pseudo-fortification every 35 seconds. Haha, imagine pushing into that. Ha 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 ha. It's horrible. I feel dirty even telling you guys this. Because after this I won't play Arc Warden a lot, but I will be playing against him. I'm giving you all the ammunition you need to destroy me. And lastly, melee heroes aren't really melee heroes if you squint. They're more like ranged heroes with an extremely short 150 range before they can attack. 150 range isn't 0. You can position field behind you with you directly on the edge of it and your melee attacker completely out of it. If they're dumb enough, they might not even realize that they're not hitting you. And they'll be dumb enough. All the way up to Divine 5 and beyond, there are dumb players. I'm a dumb player, so take it from me personally. Spark Wraith though, 80 mana, 4 second cooldown, 100 damage at level 1, and it lasts 50 seconds and gives 300 vision. At mid, put one on the left path, one on the right path, and know about every single gank before it gets to you. In the background is footage showing how to last hit with Spark Wraith as well, how to push a hero back with Spark Wraith, and pretty much how to control the lane. The one thing to remember is it takes 2 seconds before it can activate, but it also has a radius of 375, which is more than enough to completely close off any path anywhere. Enemies can dodge it pretty easily, you just walk out of it. So what you do is you place it in some places where they need to walk to. At mid, it's usually just the steps. Whoa, Viper, big plays! You dodge the Wraith by walking close to me. Your reward is now being downhill, taking crazy damage from me, who's uphill, and now also having to decide between tanking that Wraith anyway, or walking all the way around to get back up, except oh wait, it's so large that even then you're still going to be hit by it. The only thing that you can do is wait for your creep wave to come and tank it for you. And then Tempest Double's just more of that. For 14 to 18 seconds, you have another arc, complete with his own items and cooldowns. He's had a lot of more exploitative perks taken away. You can't share rapiers, you can't share consumables, and I'm personally very okay with that. It also maintains cooldowns now, so you can't spawn a double, use Midas, and then spawn another double 2 seconds later, and then use Midas again. And then pretty much every single item has a unique quirk to it. But they're so petty and astronomically situational that we don't really even need to get into them here. Yeah, I know. Even I won't talk about them. The guy who devoted like 20 minutes talking about every single attack modifier and how it worked on allies in Winter Wyvern's Winter's Curse. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the guide. See you next time. Hello there. You thought I'd string you along all this way and then forget to talk about Meteor Hammer? Damn, son, that'd be cold. So here we go. Start off like a normal Arc Warden, Tangos, Wraith Band, maybe getting a Salve and then getting less of the Wraith Band if you're going to be going up against a hard lane. You go for that Aquila. Arc Warden lacks in damage but has a crazy 625 attack range. And another Arc Warden coming in a few minutes, which is effectively just double damage, right? So let's gear up for it now in the Aquila. And then, instead of Midas, just get Meteor Hammer. Or get both. Hey, why not? Hey, if you can afford it, why not? Arc Warden's double is the least important unit in any team fight, especially early. With so much chaos in a fight, it's hard to even tell if this particular Arc Warden double is standing still because you can't micro, or because you're casting Meteor Hammer with it. It's literally next leveling the enemy. If you lead with the doubles hammer, odds are it's probably gonna go off, unless it's clipped by a stun that wasn't meant for it. Because early game, no one ever really stuns the double, unless they're really planning on killing it. And nobody can that early. And like I've said a bunch of times before, it's effectively an alternative to Midas. It helps farm, but it also helps in teamfights, gives crazy strength, gives amazing mana regen, something Arc Wardens have always struggled with, and it stacks with the cooldown reduction in a way that Maelstrom doesn't. Maelstrom has an internal cooldown that doesn't ever change, and it also only ever affects 4 units. Creep waves have 5, usually, with a few more on certain waves. Meteor Hammer can destroy an entire wave. With the cooldown reduction, you can use it immediately on a creep wave, you can teleport your double over to another place, use it again on another creep wave, and even without any actual damaging items, you can guarantee, because it's 690 damage, that those creeps are probably gonna die. And then, because of the cooldown, you can push that wave and then use it on a tower or a person. The one thing that throws a spanner into the works is that they don't actually stack, which isn't as much of a problem as you might think it is. Fundamentally, you can substitute the damage over time to guarantee that you get both of the stuns to land. You do one, then you wait about 2 seconds, then you do the other. Or you can cross your fingers, flux 2 people, and then try your hardest to land it on both. And then who knows? You can carry on down this insane path. You can get a Dagon 5, you can get Scythes and Shivas and get all sorts, but pretty much like a Tinkerwood, just getting activatable items. Or you can basically just use this Meteor Hammer as an alternative to Midas, and just farm with it, and then carry on with getting carry items. Because, fuck dude, Arc Warden is gross. And yes, I'm aware Nightsound did this exact build in a pro game a couple of days ago. That always happens. I've been sitting on this idea for ages. I recorded the intro and all the earlier bits for this ages ago, and right before I finish it up, a pro does it, and I'm called a copycat. Maybe I should just move on to making builds so incredibly stupid that no pro player would be caught dead building it. That's the new strat. See you all next video for Radiance Puck. And you don't even know if I'm joking or not.